What up, African World? It's Home Team here, and welcome back to another video of African history, culture, and worldview. This video is a special Patreon request. So today, we'll be talking about the Mende people. By supporting this channel on Patreon, you're helping in the creation of these videos and supporting this content. If you'd like access to full courses and sources, or you simply want to show your support, you may do so by clicking the Patreon link in the description box below. There are roughly 1.5 million Mende in Sierra Leone, mainly in the southeast, accounting for about 30% of the population, and approximately 30,000 in neighboring Liberia. Some scholars suggest that the Mende people originated from the Kingdom of Mali or Mende, amongst other Mende groups. But sometime in the 15th century, they began moving southward, conquering other groups as they went. Others suggest that the Mende people were originally amongst a group of rogue soldiers from Mali called the Mani, who invaded the southern regions after Mali began to disintegrate. Mende origins aren't an exact historical science, if you will, but it does seem as though they were joined by other Mende-speaking peoples as they moved southward into Liberia. The arrival of Mende-speaking invaders from the north, together with an increase in population and the advantages of political and military alliances at the time of the slave trade, influenced the emerging Mende state system during the 18th century. By the late 19th century, there were approximately 70 Mende chieftaincies. Observers identified two types of Mende states, those defined territorially and those defined by loyalty to a particular ruler. In both cases, the authority of a ruler depended primarily on military prowess and the support of subordinate chiefs. Most Mende converted to either Christianity or Islam in the 19th century, but their traditional religion is still very strong. Traditional religion centers on the creator called Negwo, who is the supreme being, but he's also approached through the spirits of the ancestors. Interestingly enough, the original supreme being of the Mende was a female deity called Leva. She was supplanted by the male god Ngewo, and the two were blended into a single deity. According to one myth, there was a time when people forgot Ngewo, stopped praying to him, and neglected to make offerings to the ancestral spirits. Because of this, the people's lives changed for the worse, and illness and death came among them. One night, the people heard the voice of Leve telling them that they had to pray to Ngewo again and make offerings to the ancestors. When the people did so, their lives improved. In another myth about the origin of death, Ngewo sent a dog and a toad to humans to carry messages of life and death. The dog carried the message that people would not die, and the toad carried the message that death would come. Although both started out at the same time, the dog stopped in hope of getting some food from a woman, and the toad continued forward. The toad arrived first, saying to the humans that death would come. The dog arrived too late, unfortunately, and humans accepted the toad's message of death. Also in Mende religious belief, there are a number of lesser spirits called Hale, who are contacted through special mask societies. The main societies are the Poro and the Sande, who perform during major ceremonies such as circumcision and during planting seasons to help ensure abundant harvests. Other masked and secret societies include Humuai, which deals with sexual behavior, Njai, that deals with major illnesses, and Kapa, that deals with minor illnesses. In the 19th century, Christianity was spread from the coastal region where the British built new communities, such as Freetown, established in 1787, for freed slaves, both from the Americas and from captured slave ships. Islam was first introduced by Muslim traders from the interior. Islam spread quickly in the 20th century because it was seen as a form of resistance to the British. The Mende were a fierce group, and their early experience in warfare and expansion drove them in their resistance to European imperialism. After the British declared the Protectorate of Sierra Leone in 1896, thus assuming partial control over much of Mende territory, the Mende and the British came into conflict. Disputes over British authority and the so-called hut tax collection began in various parts of the protectorate. The Mende particularly resented British attempts to restrict Mende control over the harvesting of palm oil. In April 1898, The Mende, organized by their poorer societies, rose and killed Europeans and Africans in European dress throughout their territory. The Mende became pretty popular during this time for their resistance. The 1997 film Amistad was based on a real court case dealing with the status of the Mende after they revolted on a slave ship. In 1839, 56 enslaved Mende, including 4 children, led by Singbe Pie, rebelled and tried to force the crew to return them to Africa. The ship, however, was not built for a transatlantic voyage as they were located off the coast of Cuba. The crew deceptively kept the ship in U.S. waters until after some weeks it was captured by the U.S. Navy off Long Island. The ship and the people on board were taken to New Haven, Connecticut, where they were held and tried. The trial quickly became a cause for the American abolitionist movement. In the end, the Mende won the case and were returned to Africa. Singbe Pie was said to have renounced his conversion to Christianity and severed any contact with the American Missionary Society. Well, I'm all out, guys. If you like these videos and want to help in its continued production, consider supporting the home team on patreon.com. The link is in the description box below. Know thyself. Remember your ancestors. Peace.